story begins on Key West, Florida in 1904, in the lavish home of an artist and author named Robert Eugene Otto, or Gene, as he was called in his youth. He was an only child of wealthy parents who entertained themselves by traveling. During their long and frequent trips, they left their son Gene alone in the care of an elderly Bahamian nanny. This elderly woman was said to be an expert in voodoo magic, which involves harnessing evil spirits and jinn and goblins to cast black curses on enemies and rivals. The story goes that Robert's mother, in a fit of rage, fired the old nanny for a trivial reason. However, her son's intense attachment to his nanny forced her to delay firing her until the end of the month. The old nanny spent her last days in the house confined to her room, rarely leaving it. No one knows what she did in that seclusion. Before leaving the house, she gave Jane a doll she had made herself as a gift and named it Robert after him. Gene soon became attached to his new doll. He dressed it in sailor clothes, and it never left his side, even when he slept. He spent most of his time playing with it and talking to it. It seemed normal for a child his age, but his parents and the housekeeper started hearing another voice with him in the room. At first, they thought that Gene was changing his voice to speak on behalf of the doll Robert, which is something that children naturally do when they talk to themselves. But the other voice was too rough for a child's voice. Sometimes it would get louder and turn into a scream, so his parents would rush to Gene's room to find him huddled in a corner of the room, while the doll Robert was sitting on a chair staring at him. They would ask Gene why he was screaming, and he would point to the doll and say angrily, "It's Robert. He started the fight first." As the days passed, strange things began to happen in the house, according to the story. Plates began to fly off the tables and break by themselves. Doors closed from the inside for no reason. Books fell off the shelves and scattered on the floor as if a mysterious hand had reached out and tampered with them. Then Gene's toys began to break and shatter, and his dolls and puppets were torn apart and scattered around the house. Gene's parents thought that their son was the one doing these things. They would blame him and scold him, and he would point his finger at the doll and respond with disapproval. "It's Robert. He's the one who did it, not me." Jane's parents didn't believe the doll was the one doing this, but many of the servants did. They believed that the old nanny had indeed cast one of her black curses on the doll to get revenge on the family. Some of them swore that they had seen Robert the doll running between the rooms at night, and when they tried to catch him, he began climbing the walls and walking upside down on the ceiling, laughing and mocking them. They became terrified of him and avoided entering Jane's playroom as much as possible, especially at night. Strange sightings weren't limited to the housekeeper. Neighbors also reported seeing Robert the doll walking around the house, moving from window to window while the family was out. Things came to a head one night when Gene's parents rushed into his room after hearing him screaming and sobbing. They found him buried under the furniture, which had somehow all been piled up on the bed. Gene was screaming in terror, "It's Robert. He wants to hurt me." At this, Gene's parents had had enough. They tried to tear up and burn the doll, but the servants warned them against it, lest the curse spread throughout the house. So Gene's father locked the doll in a small room in the attic, locked the door, and forbade anyone from approaching that room. After leaving the doll in the house, no strange things happened, and the matter was ignored over time. In 1972, Gene finally died, and his wife sold the house. The new owners decided to open the attic door. They knew nothing about Robert the doll's history, and found him sitting in a rocking chair facing the window. They were amazed that he looked clean, even though everything in the room was covered in dust. Unfortunately for them, they had a 10-year-old daughter who immediately became attached to the doll and decided to keep it. Once again, strange events and things reared their heads around the house. The girl began screaming and crying at night. Her family would rush to her, and she would tell them that she had seen the doll moving around the room and jumping on the furniture. On one occasion, the girl swore that the doll had attacked her and tried to hurt her. Eventually, the doll Robert ended up at an American museum, Fort East Martello Museum, but the doll's mischief did not end there. Soon, museum workers and employees began talking about strange things happening at night. It was said that some guards saw the doll wandering around the museum at night, so the museum management decided to put Robert inside a glass cage, where he remains to this day. Many tourists visited to learn about his strange story and to take pictures of him carefully. Legend claims that Robert must first be politely asked for permission before taking any picture of him. If he refuses by tilting his head slightly